Shalom, shalom. This is Brother now with Great Millstone, El Paso, Borderland Saints. First of all, before we get started, I would like to always give praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Kodash. Also, double honors to the head apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all sincere Akim, whether they hear or whether they forbear. Keep the faith, keep believing, and keep preaching, whether they hear or whether they forbear. Now, we will be taking our lesson from Matthew, the 7th chapter. And it goes this way. It says, "Judge not that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in thine eye? How wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thy own eye?" So that's how it starts out there. All right. So the Lord say, first clean up your life before you tell someone else how to clean up theirs. Okay. Which makes perfect sense, because it's hypocrisy when we carry the word and we don't carry it in truth. Okay. And we're not living by it. It's of none effect. So the Lord is looking for us to have, to be holy. Okay, he told us to be holy, for I am holy. So that's what the Lord is looking for. He's just looking for us to do his will. It's that simple, nothing complicated. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Enjoy the simplicity of holiness and righteousness. All right. And then it says, "Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote of thy brother's eye." All right, so the Lord said, clean up yourself first. What judgments you judge and put on others, it's going to come back to you the same way. So you want to be living holy, all right? And you want to show yourself approved, all right? So that means studying the Holy Scriptures and getting a good understanding of them, and then also living accordingly, all right? And we do things by faith. That's how we operate. We can't always see our way through some situations, but the Lord, he will bless us when we move by faith, okay? So we don't always see our way, but we just have to do what the Lord tell us to do. It's pretty much that simple, and go off faith, all right? And that means taking care of one another, looking out for each other, things like that. Even when it hurts a little bit, let's make sure we're taking care of the household of holiness, okay? Let's take care of one another. Israelites, okay? So this message is to you, that we take care of each other. And then it says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you." So some things you can't give meat, all right, to babes, all right, because they'll vomit on it, okay? And that's the same way it is with this word. Some things you can teach and give to the holy and righteous, and some things you can't, okay, because they'll rend you. All right, they won't understand it, and they're just not ready for it. God has to prepare their mind to be able to accept the holy word, okay? And you can put it out there, but they may just look at you and shake their head, because it's not for them, okay? It's just that simple. When you call on the name Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, the Kodash, sometimes you're going to run into people who they're not going to accept it, because they've been under the wine of Esau, you see. And they're up under, a lot of times these preachers are up under 501c. They don't want to come out of that comfort zone. So you're gonna get some rejections there. Okay. And it's no need for you to keep rending yourself, putting the knowledge out there, and they're not going to accept it. You're going to run into that when they are not going to accept holiness and righteousness. They're not going to call on Yahweh Shai. They don't understand it. And the Lord has to open their eyes to see it. All right. Then it goes on to say, ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open. And I can say for a truth, that is so true. I asked the Lord to give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. A hard thing for me to suffer, but the Lord did answer the prayer. He answered it. And I'm just thanking the Lord for that. Okay. But it's not open and given to everyone. So everyone is not going to they're not going to get it. Okay, they don't understand that they can't mix paganism with holiness. They're going to try to mix it, okay? And you're not going to be able to get away. They're not going to be able to receive it unless the Lord opens their eyes, and the Lord has chosen them from the beginning of time to be able to receive it. They just simply aren't going to call on that name. They're going to be stuck on Jesus Christ. That's what they've been taught all their life. They don't know anything different, okay? And they really haven't studied the Holy Scriptures to know that the Lord's name is in Paleo Hebrew. They don't know that, okay? So they're going to call on a false god, Serapis Christus and all of that, not understanding where the name came from. They're just going to accept their forefathers' word, and they're not going to have an open mind to be able to accept the truth. All right, because the Lord has blinded them. Okay. And then it goes on to say, of what man is there of you whom if his son asks bread will give him a stone, or if he asks a fish will give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? So a lot of times they haven't asked for it, you see, and the Lord hasn't given it to them, but they never asked for it, you see. So he never opened their eyes because they don't have an open mind to receive it in the first place. So when you run into that situation, people are not listening to you, cut them off. Don't keep putting your pearls before swine, okay? Because they're not going to get it. Just cut them off, bid them farewell, and let them go on about their way. And then it goes on to say, therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. All right, this is the law and prophets. Love your brother as yourselves. All right, you already know what that means. And then it says, enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Okay, so living holy is going to require you to be separate from the world. That's basically what it's saying. Okay, you can't do everything what the world doing and do this work also. Okay, that's not going to work. You got to get out of fornication, adultery. You got to get out of revelings. Okay, all of that. You can't mix it in. All right, get out of that hatred, riotous spirit. Okay, you can't do that. You have to be dealing in meekness. You have to be dealing in patience. All right. Those are the things that you should be dealing with. The spirits of God, it tells you how to live. Okay. So just be obedient to the word. And when your conscience speaks to you, listen to your conscience. That's the Lord. That's the Lord speaking to you. Listen to your conscience. It's very important. If your conscience tells you it's not right, more than likely it's not right. Okay. It says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. Be aware of that, because you got a lot of prophets out there. They're after money. They're not trying to save souls. They're after a dollar bill, okay, because they got bills to pay. And they're not depending on the Lord to provide for them, all right? They're trying to live up to a certain standard. So they'll preach to you smooth things and won't tell you the truth. Okay, they'll see you going off and won't say anything about it. Okay, because they want you to keep coming so they can get that dollar bill, all right? Then it says, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. So we've seen that, okay? We've seen that where bishops were out partying with rappers and, committing abominations, being unholy, all right? Men sleeping with men and women sleeping with women and all of that kind of, all types of abominations. It say, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Now we're in Matthew the 7th chapter, so you should go back and read what I'm reading, all right? It's a good scripture to learn. I like the number 7. It's the number of completion. And this, if anything, gives a strong completion to what the requirement is to be holy. And it says, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. So you should be making sure that you're doing righteousness and holiness, that everybody can see that. All right. Be of a good conscience. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. All right, we know what the will is. We know what he's requiring us to do, to live peacefully with all men, to love one another as ourselves. Okay, stop eating that pork. The Lord told you not to eat that. Okay, you're defiling the body. Your body is the temple of our living power, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. So they don't want to be in there in your body with swine. Okay, they don't want to be in there with drugs. Okay, they don't want to be in your body and your body is full of disease. Okay, all right. So live holy so that the Lord can clean you up and have a clean place to live and dwell in. All right, and then it says in the 22nd verse, many shall say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So the Lord's going to turn you around at the door. See, when you come back and he's gathering the 144,000 elect of Israel, you're going to walk up there and sin is going to be there and you're going to get turned around. Okay, so you don't want to be where the Lord can blame you for anything. Live a life where you are blameless. Okay, the Holy Scripture says, tells you to be holy for I am holy. And it also tells you, I'm trying to think of that scripture. I should go and try to find it, but it says, be careful for nothing. Okay. Be careful for nothing. Basically, it's telling you to avoid, that's the scripture I'm looking for, avoid the very appearance of evil. Okay, if you know that your brother, don't make sure you're not throwing a stumbling block out there. Maybe you can drink a little bit of wine, but your brother can't handle it. So if you see your brother can't handle a little wine and stuff, then you shouldn't drink it in front of him. Okay? All right, drink that at home. You don't have to be out on the street doing that. All right, because it could be a stumbling block for your brother. All right, and it may lead him to smoking and getting drunk and doing drugs, running after wild women. So, do not throw a stumbling block out there for your brother. Avoid those things. Okay, because if it's a stumbling block for your brother, then it's a sin. All right, and if it's causing you to live unrighteous, it's a sin. Okay, that's the way it goes. Okay, if you're drinking so much that it's making you do things you ought not to do, then you need to not be touching that alcohol. Just leave it alone. Okay. Then it says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken unto him a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them shall be likened to, and doeth them not. Okay. Everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So you want to build a strong foundation. Okay, that's what that's saying. The strong foundation is in doing the law and commandments that was given to Israel. Okay, those laws, commandments, judgments, ordinances, all of that the Lord gave to Israel is what's required for you to have a strong foundation in holiness and in righteousness. Okay, so you got to have some joy, you got to have some peace, all of those things. See, you want to put away malice and strife and envy and revelings, you see. Stay away from abominable and detestable things to the Lord. All right. And it says in the last two verses, and it came to pass when Yahweh had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. So that's how you want your ministry to be, because the Lord told you to go out there, see, and fish for the hopeful elect of 144,000. That's what you men are supposed to be doing. You women, you're supposed to be out there teaching the women how to obey their husbands and be in subjection to their husbands, teaching the children to honor you as a mother or a father. Okay, all these things are required. Okay, and we have to do it in a way of perfection. When a mechanic works on a car, okay, if he wants that car to run right, it has to be properly tuned. And that's how you have to do with this word. Okay, it has to be properly tuned. If it's not properly tuned, then you're going to have a gasket leak. You see. Or you're going to have oil running out of the car and it's going to stall on you. All right. You understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So make sure that each and every part of these laws, commandments, judgments, ordinances that the Lord has given you, that you're obeying each and every one. Don't leave not one stone unturned. Okay, think about what you're doing each and every day with each and every one that you talk to. All right, let's remember that. Now we're going to stop our lesson there. Hopefully this was a good lesson that you enter into the straight gate. All right, enter into the straight gate. Stay in the narrow gate. All right, don't get out there in the wide, in the gate. You see this turning and crooked and all of that. See, and wide open. You can't follow the crowd. All right. The love with the world is enmity with the Most High. Okay. You can't run with the world and do this at the same time. All right. Now we're going to stop there, brethren. And hopefully this lesson was a lesson edifying to the hopefully elect 144,000 of Israel. All right. Again, before we end this, we're going to again give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash. Shalom, and a Bible ball. Live Holy Israel.